Strange days to be a Chicago Cub fan. It seemed like it was just yesterday they won the World Series, were a regular in the playoffs. Now, everyone needs a "Hello, my name is" sticker so you know who anyone is. Chicago Cubs remain one of the richest teams in baseball, and this offseason, they're showing maybe they're ready to flex and bring some more names in. I'm bringing in two names, Sam Olbur and Matt Cozzi of Locked On Cubs. This is Locked On MLB.
You are Locked On MLB. Your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all Major League Baseball, and we do it all year long. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. If you don't believe me, there's my lower third. You can call me Sully. I am an Emmy-nominated television producer who has been a baseball podcaster for well over the last decade, and for this is now my fifth year as a host here on the Locked On Podcast Network. You can follow our show at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And be sure to subscribe to us on the YouTubes. And please help us get to our goal of 1 billion subscribers. We're several hundred million off. So let's get that rolling. And be sure to tell your smart device to play podcasts Locked On MLB. Or check out some of the other great shows on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is indeed your team every day. By the way, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And I'll tell you what I'm going to get started doing. I'm going to get started talking big-time Cubs talk. Did that sentence make sense? I'm not 100% sure. Ladies and gentlemen, my great pleasure to bring in the host of the Locked On Cubs podcast. There's Sam Olbur. If you don't believe me, there he is. Sam, how you doing?
How are you doing, Sully? It's nice to be on the show and to actually meet you via person online.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. This is too big a show for just one Locked On Cubs host. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Matt Cozzi of Locked On Cubs. How you doing, man?
Very good. Yeah, excited to be on, and have to give you credit. I don't know if I could host on my own, so I try to pass Sam the ball, and we're happy to be with you.
Well, there's some people who agree with you that I can't host on my own, but what are you going to do? You can't win over everybody. I just like to yap. That's part of the deal. Is the origin of me doing, when I did the Sully Baseball Daily podcast, where I did 365 podcasts a year, unless it was a leap year and I did another one. That all stemmed from the fact that I would talk out loud to myself about baseball while I was driving around. I said, I should record some of this. Some of this ain't bad. So I'm just going to be talking. Even when you and I leave and I hit end recording and this goes up, I'm still going to be there. I'm going to pick up, I'll find a teddy bear or something like that and say, hey, Barry, let me tell you something. I really, really think the Red Sox wet the bed with this Trevor Story situation. So I'm just going to keep talking. So, but hey, this is your first time here on Locked On MLB. Why don't you, for some of the people who have been floating down the River Sully for the last decade or so, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your Cub fandom?
Yeah, we're happy to be a part of the Locked On Network. We took over the Cubs show on July 5th. It's been a great ride so far. I was born into my Cubs fandom, definitely a family thing, a few different generations. And it's just really snowballed from there. A lot of good memories, about 40 miles away here from Wrigley. Just going down during the summers and following the team in the off season, and doing newsletters in middle school about the Cubs, and putting shows on CDs with friends. It's been a good run.
What about you, Sam?
Yeah, born into it like Matt. Lot crazier than Matt. Lot more sadistic when it comes to my Cub fandom. I'm obsessed with it. 100. I would say like my over under live live games I'll watch this year, 9 innings. I put it like 158.5.
I hear you.
I really don't miss games much. I live and breathe it. The Game 7, 2016 was actually on my 23rd birthday.
Wow.
So that was a special moment. And yeah, just kind of obsessed with it all, but also, love baseball too. So it's fun to be on and talk everything.
Do you both live in Illinois or in the greater Chicago area?
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if you caught the show I did that I posted on Friday, where I wander around Guaranteed Rate Field and I go through basically all the times the White Sox almost moved,
Right.
and they always left the new franchise in their wake of their decision to stay right there. But yeah, I went to Wrigley in 1991 with my dad. I just finished my freshman year of college, to give you an idea of how much older I am than you. I actually saw a Cubs playoff game at Candlestick Park in 1989. I didn't want to tell you, but I was rooting for the Giants because I was in the Bay Area. But that was a Cubs team that had Greg Maddux and Ryan Sandberg and Andre Dawson and Rick Sutcliffe. There's a lot of classic Cubs that were in, and some were holdovers from the 1984 season. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a Cub fan. I make no bones about that, but I don't dislike the Cubs. No one says, man, I hate those Cubs, unless you're from St. Louis, or, the South Side of Chicago. But,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, Wrigley Field, when I was there before a lot of the renovations they've done, it was a magical place. I saw Dale Murphy homer there in the game I saw. So yeah, well, and by the way, if there's anything that is telling about the Cubs, even Locked On Cubs went through a rebuilding where they traded one podcaster and they got two back and two younger ones back in return.
Yes.
So it's a quick rebuild that we've done for Locked On Cubs. Got to bring you got to bring in we traded Sean Sears for Sam and Matt, and we looks like we got the better end of the deal there. So hey, welcome aboard. So you were 23.
Yes.
Sam, you were 23 when the Cubs won. I remember
Yes.
I had said several years before on the Sully Baseball podcast that if the Cubs ever played Cleveland in the World Series, it would go 7 games. Game 7 would go into extra innings, and then the earth would open up. And I'm watching it, and I'm seeing it downpour. It's like, oh my God, was I right? Was I right? But yeah. By the way, do you know where I watched that game?
No.
Cleveland.
I watched that game in a hospital room in Palo Alto. My father had just had surgery, and I was sitting next to my dad in the recovery room watching on a little TV in a hospital room with those little curtains that get pulled in between the people there. And that was an interesting place to watch one of the classic games in the history of baseball.
Classic.
Matt, where were you watching it?
I was watching it at my parents' house in the northwest suburbs here of Chicago. And we mostly had the radio feed. We tried to sync it up with the Fox TV feed, and so we almost went the whole distance with the radio with Pat Hughes and Ron Coomer. So that was a really nice memory.
All right, I have a question to ask you. It's the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
Aroldis Chapman does what he does, which is blow leads. One swing of the bat for Cleveland could have won the World Series, and this would have gone from one of the greatest nights in your life to, oh my God, it'll never end.
The greatest night of my life.
I mean, as a Boston fan, I lived through the 86 World Series and the 2003 playoffs. And when 2003 and the Aaron Boone home run, I remember sitting going, oh my God, it's happening again. Sure. And the look on Cub fans' faces when Rajai Davis hit the home run was, oh no, it's happening again.
Right.
Now, one of these days I'm going to write down the greatest foul balls of the history of baseball. There have been a couple of foul balls. When Kipnis hit that ball, did you think, and here it is?
Well, yeah, so it's funny. It's cool that you're a Boston guy or Boston fan, because I always thought when those two teams finally won one, so Boston 04, Cubs 16, that it was going to be something crazy. Obviously, Boston was 3-0 down to the Yankees. That's
I
the
remember.
craziest. Yeah, that's the
I was at
craziest.
I was at the bloody sock A-Rod slapping the ball game.
Yeah,
At
I
Yankee
mean
Stadium.
that as a neutral, I was like 11 years old, but like historically, now that I have appreciation for it, that's probably the greatest like baseball team moment ever. But for the Cubs, I always knew it was going to be something crazy. So I thought 3-1 down would be enough. But then when there was that extra roller coaster with the Rajai Davis homer, yeah, I was when I saw the Kipnis ball, I didn't freak out as many people did or said they did, but I think I was in a mode where I was just like, this can't happen tonight. It's just not like this is it tonight. Like it had that feel all day. And I was like when Davis hit the homer, I was devastated, but I never really thought, like, to answer your question, that moment was coming. So no, I didn't think it was gone. I just always thought we were going to find a way to win that night because I don't think I'd be here if we didn't.
Right. What about you? What about you, Matt?
Well, I still remember the delay pretty vividly, and just doing laps around, the lower level of my house, or going up and down the stairs, or going up and down the basement stairs, and texting with several people during the delay. Just really angst filled, because I was shuddering when Rajai Davis hit that home run. And the fact is that they had a healthy size lead at multiple stages in the game, and they did give up the lead. And so anything could happen at that point. For that delay to happen and the skies to open, definitely provided a very unique pause in the timeline. And of course, we've learned later that different things happen in the Cubs clubhouse during that. And I also feel like the restart snuck up on us, because I missed the Schwarber hit to lead off the top of the 10th.
That's on you.
And we went from there. But the viewing experience was really wild. And I remember for many months, and now years later, just being thankful that happened, because you kind of play that what if game, and it's not very fun to play.
By the way,
sorry, just cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
Quick. I didn't. So my mom, I was at my mom. She did like a whole thing for my birthday and got like a bunch of my favorite food. Did not eat one thing for 4 straight hours.
Yeah, well, that's called intermittent fasting. But
no, it's called nerve.
I still am a little miffed that look at the Red Sox could very well play the Cubs sometime in the World Series. Yeah. But 03, which you may have been too young to appreciate. But the idea that the curse of the Bambino versus the curse of the Billy Goat, those two franchises still cursed, playing in Fenway, playing in Wrigley, people still like Sammy, people still like Manny, Pedro, all these players on the teams. That would have been the single greatest World Series matchup just for the story. And of course, we got Marlins Yankees. But, of course, we had 2 epic collapses for both of those teams that I think gave both fan bases a little bit of, okay, just remember who you are. And when it finally did happen for both teams, that year made it much stronger. But I'll always kind of be a little angry that we never got an opportunity to see that specific matchup. And we were so close.
I was at Cubs Marlins Game 7.
Oh, God. Where Kerry Wood homered.
Kerry Wood homered. Alou homered. Loudest I've ever heard anything. And then my dad and I left in like the 7th, 8th inning.
Yeah. Well, look at, when they were up, when they were up those, in that series, it would have been an absolute, you just would have, that's just a bet you would have given that they were going to win it. And by the way,
right,
if you're making any bets, we've got a brand new sponsor, and that is FanDuel. Guess what? We have the NFL playoffs are down to their final 4. All my friends up in the Bay Area are thrilled that the 49ers are there. You've got the Eagles, and that's how they're pronounced, Eagles. And of course, you got those newcomers, the Bengals and the Chiefs, to this whole thing. Oh, Buffalo. But we're excited about our new sports betting partner in Locked On because of the #1 sports book in America. FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that makes betting on sports fun and easy. New customers can join today with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at fanduel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout at a same game parlay, which is French for bet. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So baseball fans, football fans, hockey fans, highlight fans, rollerball fans, Quidditch fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get a $150 free in free bets, win or lose, at fanduel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We are here with the two promising prospects that were acquired in a midseason trade are now taking over Locked On Cubs. Sound off Matt Cozzi. Sound off Sam Olbur. They're both here. They're both ready to talk. And hey, enough of this yapping about the past. The Cubs, who put two sticks of dynamite and blew up the team that won the 2016 World Series. I thought they would keep one player. The way the Giants kept Buster Posey and Brandon Crawford around until, to sort of remind fans, like, hey, I remember Brandon Belt. But Cubs didn't do that, and they traded away everybody that wasn't nailed down. They've been pretty aggressive this offseason. One of the late and I'm not saying that they weren't in on Judge or they weren't on Rodon, but they've been pretty active in adding players to this team. Tell me a little bit of your thoughts about the club and moving forward and what I still think it's St. Louis's division to win, but St. Louis could clearly take a step back. So could Milwaukee. This is possibly a winnable division. Well, tell me your thoughts on the team.
Yeah. I thought, we talked about on the show going into the offseason, there was three boxes they absolutely had to check in the offseason to field a competitive team. And a big part of it, Sully, is the fans, the fans demanding a competitive team, because I don't think the fans had enough patience to go through another 3-year rebuild like they did between the years of 2011, 12, 13, 14, whatever it was. Those three boxes were, they had to get one of the shortstops, which they got in Dansby Swanson. They needed that defense up the middle. They needed a defensive-minded center fielder, somebody that could really go get it in center field, because they have not had that since Dexter Fowler. They went and signed Cody Bellinger to a 1-year deal. Why a 1-year deal? Well, their top prospect is Pete Crow Armstrong, who is maybe the best defensive center fielder in the minor leagues.
And also, Bellinger didn't have the best season last year. He's gone from MVP to the bench.
It's a project. It's a mutual deal. Yeah,
and it's sort of it's take a flyer. He may sort of reach back and just out of pride have a decent season.
Sure.
And the Cubs get a year out of that, and if they don't, it's just a flyer for a year. So I actually thought, I was a little surprised it was the Cubs who did that, because there were so many other teams, supposed smaller budget teams like Miami and Cleveland. Not to bring us back to 2000, and that'd be 97. They were both in it. Sorry, so it's in 2003. But teams that could pitch, that need a bat here or there. I thought thought he and Trey Mancini were great fits for teams like that. But the Cubs gobbled both of them up.
Well, yeah, and I think I'll pass it over to Matt, but I think it was so much more the defensive capabilities that the Cubs were looking for with him. And it's interesting you mentioned Miami and Cleveland, because the Cubs really kind of did a really nice job this year spending, but they kind of spent like a small market team. They were, outside of the Swanson deal, on the margins. Jameson Tyone was a sneaky good pickup. That was my third box that they had to check, was get another high-end pitcher. Is he a high-end guy? Does he miss bats? No. So that was kind of 2.5 out of 3. And then Matt, you want to talk about like the marginal deals that they made?
Yeah, I'm optimistic and excited for the season. I do think there was a chance to add some more impact pitching. It was a little confusing to us, as we've talked about on the show. For as much pitching depth as they have, and even as much depth that they've now inherited or developed in their system, they're lacking a true ace. And I'd still like to do
Right.
some homework this offseason about how many teams have true aces. I think we may realize that it's actually not as many as we think. But I'm going to go through all 30 teams and check that out. So they have a lot of twos, a lot of threes, a lot of fours in their rotation. But they're going to try. They're going to try this pitching and defense model. The offense has improved from last year. If you compare what they're going to roll out on March 30th to the 2022 opening day, it's not even close. It's much better this time around. And a lot of these dudes might be here just this year. And, as prospects graduate, we might get some deja vu about 15 or 16 in terms of, okay, here's this person that comes up. They contribute. And the Cubs take advantage of those first couple years of their windows, and we'll see if magic can happen again. But definitely improved team. I've heard in the past, don't confuse activity with achievement. 7 new players plus Drew Smiley re-signing. 8 signings is a lot. That's a 30-year team. And but we'll see how it all shakes out.
Two quick things. First of all, I think the idea of the ace pitchers slowly being phased out by
Okay.
front offices because they're so expensive, and so why not just have people who will pitch 5 or 6 innings and pay them less money?
Mhm.
That's just you're seeing. I don't think pitchers are any less tough or any less durable. They're just not being asked to pitch more than 5 or 6 innings.
Right.
The
Yeah, it's an
idea,
interesting thought. Yeah.
that it's like, well, if the when you think about who are the big aces that people are clamoring to, it's still Verlander, it's still Kershaw, it's
Mhm.
still Scherzer. I mean, who knew who else is Alcantara maybe,
Right.
Shane
Right.
Bieber maybe, but those are the exceptions. Most teams are content with having someone give them 5 1/3 innings, even if they're throwing a no hitter in the World Series, to be like, you know what? No, no, no. This is what they go 6, and then we bring out a parade of relievers. I do miss. I love a badass ace. Pedro Martinez is my favorite pitcher of all time. Do I think that as athletes are getting bigger and stronger, suddenly pitchers are getting weaker? No, they're not allowed because
Yeah.
we're whispered that third time through the order the teams have caught up with them. So let's go to our parade of relievers instead of the thrilling moment of, okay, let's see if they can. How can they get through that?
Right.
And where I find it frustrating as a fan, this isn't old man Sully. I love the bullpen. I love when you get good relievers in there. I just think there should be a middle ground. I love it when a good solid pitcher, you go 6, 7 innings, and then and if they go the last 2 9, great. But or if you have a great closer, great. But I think that you see a lot of times, okay, now we're going to go to our parade of bullpen arms. But then if it goes into extra innings, it's like, oh shoot, we've already burned through all of our best relievers, and then games are on the line with Joe Bag of Donuts up from the minors with a stupid runner on second base, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have pulled the guy when he had let up one base runner over 6 innings. Maybe you don't pull that guy. By the way, I have something I want to say. If a manager relieves a pitcher when there's 2 outs and nobody on, that team loses a draft pick. That's what you're talking about pace of play.
Yeah.
2 outs, nobody on, 170 hitter coming up. Better bring the percentages. Nope,
In, in,
nope.
in a
You
in a
don't get the
four
pick in
run
the first round.
in a 4-run game.
Yeah,
First
you don't get the
round.
pick in the first round. That's
Yeah.
it. And and I think I want to ask you, because you follow the Cubs a lot closer than I do. Are there any player from the recent big fire sales that they've had of their key players, whether it was Bryant or Baez or Rizzo or whomever it was,
Yeah.
Schwarber? Are there any prospects who came in from those trades who are suddenly becoming a possible cornerstone to the team, or have they all been, the Matt Laportas of the world?
No, they
Tons.
really they really did a great job so far with those deals. So PCA Pete Crow Armstrong is their current number one prospect. He's a top 30, 35 prospect right now. Around baseball, I expect him to go higher. They got him in a 1-for-1 deal with Javi Baez. That was probably their strongest return. They feel very good about Kevin Alcantara, who is what is he, Matt? Number 2 right now, the number 2 prospect, or number 3 with Davis. They got him in the Anthony Rizzo deal. There were some other ones, Alexander Canario, who we're very high on, who could see some time at the end of this year. They got him for Bryant. I think most Cub fans, Sully, feel pretty good. I think everybody thought it was time to move on from those guys. I think a lot of people agree with you that they would have liked to seen him keep one, just because. And I think Jed Hoyer would tell you he tried to keep one, but the extensions he offered these guys were actually above market value for what they eventually took. But the deals that they made at the deadline in 2021, I think most knowledgeable Cub fans are pretty excited about and feel good about.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to just thank everyone for making Locked On MLB your first listen every day. Obviously, make your second listen be Locked On Cubs. But your third listen, have that be Locked On MLB Prospects. You get to hear about some of these players that the Cubs got in the 2021 fire sale. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, well, we're here with Sam Olbur, with Matt Cozzi, both of Locked On Cubs. I am going to hand the reins over to you for the final segment here, because I understand you have something else in mind.
Okay, I'll take us home. This is Cubs trivia.
And I have no tabs open. I have no tabs open right now.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try some trivia. I know Sully has mentioned playing a trivia game with the Locked On host. I wanted to take him up on that offer. So we have a category that we're going to start off with. We're going to have 5 questions for Sully from Locked On MLB, and then our own Sam Olbur, 5 questions for him. And then we're going to go kind of category by category, but we're going to try to establish that cushion of points.
What is this? Is this game going to end by midnight Central, or?
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be origins and history first, and Sully is going to bat leadoff here as we get started. Okay, are you guys ready?
I'm Kenny Lofton here. Okay, got it.
Okay, very good. Which name has the Cubs franchise not gone by in its history? Is it A, White Stockings, B, Orphans, C, Cats, or D, Colts?
I'm going to say D.
D, Colts is incorrect. It's actually C, Cats.
All right. I knew the Orphans and the White Stockings, but the other two I was taking a guess. I was waiting.
Sam, did you know that one?
I was going to say Cats, but I was with Sully. I knew it wasn't, the first two. That's a good question, Matthew.
I was waiting for you to say Wales. So
a couple more. Let's try to build a points cushion, Sully. In what year did the Cubs franchise make their debut in the National League? Was it A, 1901, B, 1870, C, 1876, or D, 1945?
It's either B or C.
Well, it's not D.
Obviously, it's not D, and it's obviously not A. So it was. Tell me the 2 years again.
So B is 1870 and C is 1876. Sully,
I'm gonna say 1876.
Oh, that's gonna be right. Sully's on the board with 1 point at origins and
insurmountable
history.
lead. Okay.
Who was the last Cubs pitcher to throw a perfect game?
Ooh.
Was it A, Alec Mills, B, Kerry Wood, C, Milt Pappas, or D, No Cubs pitcher has
I
thrown a
know it
perfect
wasn't
game.
Milt Pappas because there was an error that was called that Milt Pappas was furious about.
Yeah, it was.
Or no, it was a walk. No, it would have been ball
Should have
4.
been called
It
strike
would
3.
it
Called
should have
ball
been called
4.
strike 3.
Yeah,
I would say no one's ever pitched a perfect game with the Cubs. I know it
That's
wasn't
right.
Alec Mills.
that's correct.
And I know
Correct.
Kerry Wood never did, so that'd be nobody.
Correct. Yep.
That's right. So that's 2 points for Sully. He has 2
Well done.
questions left.
Well done.
Before Wrigley Field was built, where did the Cubs play? A, Hilltop Park, B, West Side Grounds,
No.
C, Shibe Park, or D, Comiskey Park?
Well, tell me, it was not Hilltop. It was not Comiskey. And so tell me the two in the middle.
So it's either B, West Side Grounds, or C, Shibe Park.
Oh, West Side Grounds.
Oh, you're right.
Shibe Park is where the A's played.
Okay,
Man,
very good.
Man, I don't know a lot of these answers.
I went to the site of Shibe Park over this. I did a similar video about going to Shibe Park over the
that's
summer.
awesome.
Yay.
All right, final question for Sully. The Cubs shared Wrigley Field with the NFL Chicago Bears for 50 years. True or false?
True.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's a cupcake.
Well, I don't know his level of trivia with the North Side.
Gale Sayers was running around Wrigley Field like the Kansas Comet.
So that's 4 points for Sully. Are you ready, Sam?
I don't think so. No.
All right. Sounds good. What was Wrigley Field originally named? A, Chicago Field, B, Cubs Field,
I know
C,
this one.
Cubs Park, or D, Weigman Park?
D.
Okay, that's correct.
It was made for the Chicago Whales of the Federal League.
Okay, there you go.
No bonus point. No bonus point.
Who threw the Cubs' very first no-hitter in 1880?
Oh, jeez.
Was it A, King Kelly, B, Tom Poorman, C, Fred Goldsmith, or D, Larry Corcoran?
Oh, I thought it'd be three-fingered.
Oh.
I've never
Mordecai
heard
Brown.
of any of those guys. Can you
I
repeat?
feel a little bad.
Can you repeat the answers?
King Kelly, Tom Poorman, Fred Goldsmith, or Larry Corcoran? We really went back into the vault on this one.
I'll say Larry Corcoran.
You're right. 2 points for you.
That's a 25% guess.
That's crazy. What was the name of the Cubs official magazine that was around for more than 30 years before shutting down in 2018?
Hustler.
Was it A, Wrigley Weekly, B, Cubs Central, C, Vine Line, or D, Cubs Monthly?
Vine Line.
That's correct. 3 questions down. All right, 2 to go. Who suggested planting ivy on the outfield walls of Wrigley Field to make the stadium better resemble a park? Was it A, team president Bill Veeck, B, Babe Ruth after visiting Wrigley for the first time, C, manager Charlie Grimm, or D, the Illinois governor at the time, Henry Horner?
You know this one, Sully? It's C or D, I think. Can you, I'll say C.
Okay, C, manager Charlie Grimm is incorrect. It's team president Bill Veeck.
Veeck said it. Veeck said it.
Veeck said it? Oh, I
Okay.
didn't.
I thought you were going
think
to
this
throw
was-
it to me for a steal. It was Bill Veeck said it.
Oh, not yet. We're going to do that in the next round.
Okay,
I
so
know.
we're
Final
so
one
I'm-
for Sam. He could tie his cushion here if he gets this right.
Yeah, I should have got that. That was a bad miss.
How many World Series championships have the Cubs won? A2, B3, C4, or D5?
Okay. I know. So 08, obviously 16, and then the question is, was there one more or two more before that? I think they won in 06. Or 7. I'll say 3 World Series.
That's correct.
That's correct. But they didn't win 06. They won
Yeah.
07 and
07, 08.
They
yeah.
lost 06 to the White Sox.
That's right.
Okay, great show content here as we're both tied at 4, and for the remainder of the game, you're
Wow, this is
going to
tough.
say your name if you know it.
Great
Right.
questions,
Okay?
Matt.
So you're going to say your name.
Wait, what do you mean? So if I know the answer, I just say Olbur?
You say, well, I guess you could say your last name.
Or
Yeah.
Sam. You just say, so I say Sam, right? So it's like your name's your buzzer.
Yes.
Yes, your name's your
And
buzzer.
if I buzz it, I say Sam.
Okay.
Okay, since Sully is the guest here, would you like to choose? We have 3 categories. Ready? Statistically speaking, Hollywood, or miscellaneous.
I'm going to say Hollywood. Gonna be eager to hear what the hell what that is.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Prior to the Cubs winning, let me restart. Excuse me.
Jeez.
Prior to the Cubs actually winning the World Series, which movie featured the Cubs winning the World Series? Was it A, Fever Pitch?
Oh, sorry.
B, Rookie of the Year?
Sully.
C, Back to the Future Part 2?
Sully.
Or D, Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Well,
Sully.
hold on.
Sully.
Well, yeah, okay.
It was that feature would be Rookie of the Year, but it was mentioned in Back to the Future Part 2.
It was mentioned in Back to the Future Part 2, right?
But it was also the kid has a World Series ring at the end of Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So just a quick question.
So I think
Obviously,
2 of them are mentioned there.
I knew that answer. When is it appropriate to say your name? Do you have to finish the question or?
Oh, sorry. That's
Well,
I just didn't know.
If you feel like you know it, you could say your name.
No, but like if you say, my question is, if I say my name before you say the answers, do you still get the answers?
No.
Got it. Okay.
No.
Yeah. All right. That was an easy one. All right.
All right. Sully's up 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
Sully, go ahead and pick. Statistically speaking, Hollywood or miscellaneous?
Let's do Hollywood.
Okay. The Cubs-Cardinals rivalry is a geographical stamp in which Netflix show? A, Stranger Things, B, Ozark, C, Orange is the New Black, or D, That 90s Show?
Sully.
Go ahead.
I have no idea.
Ozark is correct.
I've never seen one of those shows.
Ozark was great until the final season. The final season, they fell apart, but the first couple of seasons were great.
What would you like to go with here?
I'm just run the table with Hollywood. I want to see what else you got here.
David Ross was the first MLB contestant on which show?
Sam. Dancing with the Stars.
That's correct. Sully leads 6-5. What category would you like, Sam?
I'll do statistically speaking.
Okay. Sammy Sosa holds the Cubs franchise record for the most home runs. How many did Sosa hit? A, 601, B, 545, C, 555, or D, 501?
Sully.
Sam.
545.
That's correct. And it's now 6-6. Would you like to stay in this category?
Yes, please.
Which pitcher holds
Alex.
the franchise record for career ERA at 1.80? Jake Arrieta, Hippo Vaughn, Fergie Jenkins, or Mordecai Three-Finger Brown?
Sam.
Sam.
Now, did you say career ERA?
Yes.
Mordecai Three-Finger Brown.
That's correct. It's 7-6. Sam, and he controls the board.
I got to be quicker.
Statistically speaking.
Which player holds the franchise record for career runs batted in with 1,879? Was it A, Cap Anson, B, Sammy Sosa, C, Ernie Banks, or D, Ryan Sandberg?
Sam.
Can
I just get those answers one more time, or is that not allowed? Because
yeah,
that's fine. If that's fine, if it's not allowed.
Cap Anson, Sammy Sosa, Ernie Banks, or Ryan Sandberg? You got to answer now.
Yeah. I'm going to say Ernie Banks.
Okay, that's incorrect. Sully, would you like to steal that?
Cap Anson.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, I knew. Gosh darn it!
It's 7-7. Sully, you control the board.
I want to see what you got. Let's see what miscellaneous has to tell us.
I should have.
Miscellaneous. Which college did the Cubs draft first baseman Mark Grace from in 1985?
Sully.
He has to answer it.
It's Arizona State.
That's incorrect. A, San Diego State, B, North Carolina, C, Vanderbilt, or D, Kansas State. Sam, if you want to steal.
I know it's not Vanderbilt. Can I get the choices one more time?
A, San Diego State, B, North Carolina, C, Vanderbilt, D, Kansas
I'll say
State.
A, San Diego State.
That's correct. Okay, it's 8-7. This is going really well. If I
This
do
is
say so
incredible.
myself. Sam, you control the board.
How do I could just pick any category again?
Yeah.
I'll say statistically speaking again.
Okay,
Should've
let's
had
go
that
back.
answer.
I have
I knew
5
that.
questions in each category. So
Okay, great.
At some point we will
Eventually, I have
maybe
to have
hit
dinner
the
with
wall.
my family, but just so
Yeah.
you know.
Which player holds the single season record for hits with 229? A. Sammy Sosa, B. Starlin Castro, C. Rogers Hornsby, or D. Hack Wilson?
Sam,
Sully.
Sam,
I'm gonna say Rogers Hornsby.
that's correct.
Damn it.
So it's 9-7. Sam
I'm
controls the
getting
board.
my butt kicked here.
Should we? I don't, we could cap it soon because I'm starting to get tired.
Do you want to make it like a pickup game, first to 11?
Does that work, Sully?
Sure.
All right, it's
He
9-7.
wants to-
Sam.
He wants to eat. He's hungry. Yeah. Statistically speaking, again, please.
Okay, this is the last one of that category. Who is the most intentionally walked Cub of all time?
Sam.
Okay,
It's got to be Sammy Sosa.
incorrect. Sully, you could steal A. Sammy Sosa, B. Ernie Banks, C. Billy Williams, or D. Derek Lee.
Oh,
I'm going to say Billy Williams.
Incorrect.
No, it's
it
Derek
was Ernie
Lee then.
Banks.
Jeez, really?
Sam,
They-
you control the board.
I didn't know they intentionally walk people that back then that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Hollywood or miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous. Hollywood's not for me.
In the 43rd round of the 2009 MLB draft, the Cubs selected this current NFL quarterback.
Sam, Jeff Samardzija. Oh, wait.
Incorrect.
No.
Incorrect. Was it A, Sully Lamar Jackson, B, Jared Goff, C, Matt Stafford, or D, Russell Wilson?
Nah, I messed up.
I couldn't tell you anything about any 4 of those names. I'll say Russell Wilson.
That's correct.
I messed it
It's
up. I thought you were
9-8. We're playing to 11.
It's 9-8 or 10-8? It's 10. I thought I had 10.
No, it's 9. I have 9 here.
Oh boy.
Jeff
Nine-
Samardzija was wrong.
9-8. Sully, do you want another miscellaneous?
No, give me. What do we have? Do we have anything left in Hollywood?
We have 2 questions left.
I thought he was going to say Notre Dame quarterback. I got too excited.
Let's go.
After the Cubs won the 2016 World Series, 3 players made a guest appearance on Saturday Night Live with this SNL alum who was also a Cubs fan. Sam?
No, I paused myself.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say which 3 players.
Okay. Why don't you finish the question?
A, Vince Vaughn, B, Bill Murray, C, Jeff Garland, or D, Bryan Cranston?
Sully.
Sully.
Bill Murray.
That's correct. It's 9-9. We're playing to 11. I could close out Hollywood.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
I'm
let's
in
close it
trouble.
out.
I'm in
This
trouble.
singer is a diehard Cubs fan who wrote the song "Someday We'll Go All the Way." Is it A, Eddie Vedder, B,
Sam.
Ozzy?
Sam.
Eddie Vedder.
That's correct. Okay, game point for Sam as we go to we have 3 more miscellaneous questions. This is working out real well. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah, nervous.
In 2012, the Cubs traded this pitcher for a return that included Kyle Hendricks. Was it A, Matt Garza,
Sam.
B, Jason Hamill? Sam.
Matt Garza.
Incorrect.
It's okay.
C, Ryan Dempster, or D, Carlos Marmol? Sully.
Ryan Dempster.
That's
Ryan
correct.
Dempster.
It's 10-10.
It was
This
Garza
is
or Dempster.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was Garza or Dempster.
1 point to go, and there's 2 possible questions left. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
In July 2006, the Cubs traded this player to the Dodgers and received shortstop Cesar Izturis in return. Was it A, Juan Pierre, B, Mark DeRosa, C, Greg Maddux, or D, Michael Barrett?
Sam.
Sully.
Sam.
We know it's 50-50. It's either Juan Pierre
3,
or Michael
2,
Barrett. Juan Pierre.
1. Incorrect.
Read them again for me, please.
Okay. Juan Pierre,
Wait,
Mark
why was
DeRosa,
I on a timer?
Greg Maddux, or Michael Barrett?
It's Michael Barrett.
3. Incorrect.
Oh,
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The answer was Greg
Greg
Maddux.
Maddux, yeah.
I didn't think
And
he was
folks-
traded. I didn't think he was traded in mid-season. Okay.
And folks, This is literally the last question with 1 point to go. Okay, I don't have a tiebreaker question, so not sure if someone gets this not correct, what we're going to do, but I'll figure it out. In December 2006, former Cubs general manager Jim Hendry, while hooked up to an EKG machine, completed the signing of this pitcher. Was it A, Ted Lilly, B, Jason Marquis, C, Carlos Silva, or D, Greg Maddux?
Sully.
Sam.
Oh, Sully.
Ted Lilly.
That's correct.
I was going to say Lilly too.
And it's 11-10.
Did he really get before me on that one?
Yes, we could check the tape, but I heard his voice first.
It was either Lilly or Marquis.
What a great time this was by all. Thanks, everybody, for participating, and thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. We're host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. Locked On MLB Podcast, available on YouTube and wherever you get your shows. For Paul Francis Sullivan, they call him Sully. For Sam Olbur, I'm Matt Cozzi, and this has been a crossover edition of Locked On Cubs and Locked On MLB.